All right, welcome back and thanks for staying with us. If you're just joining us, you're still watching Daybreak on Trust Television right here in the Federal Capital Territory. And it's time for us to review the papers. We'll start by taking a look at Daily Trust newspaper. And we have the lead story that talks about attacks. INEC holds emergency meeting today, records 47 incidents in 33 months. Hoodlums torch Ogun Osun officers. IDP Probe's attack on Atiku's convoy. From the top of the page there, dollar crashes to 730 naira at parallel markets. Details of that can be found on page 23. 2023, vote whomever you like, Buhari tells Nigerians. You can find more on that story on page 4. There's a pictorial there of the Yobe State Governor, Honorable Maimala Buni, where he presented the 2023 Appropriation and Finance Bills to the State House of Assembly yesterday in Damaturu. And there are more stories on Daily Trust. Contempt. Court sets aside EFCC chairman's conviction. Media holds roundtable on industry regulation, and also Elon Musk takeover. We're closely monitoring Twitter, says federal government. And these are some of the stories they can find on Daily Trust newspaper today.
Okay, let's take a look at some more stories on the Guardian newspaper. 65,699 PVCs burnt. Fear heightens after twin attacks on INEC officers. And you can see some of the riders there. INEC summons emergency security meeting today. Ogun CP, INEC officers need increased security. PDP, APC condemn attacks. Gaya, insecurity won't affect election census. Elections can't hold amid insecurity. Secure Nigeria now, Bishop tells federal government. I would say some more riders. PDP restates commitment to violence-free poll despite attack on its rallies. Election results cannot be influenced with beavers, INEC reiterates. And then you'd see a picture there with a story lead there that says, with trillions lost to failed and collapsed buildings, stakeholders tread slippery roads to recovery. That story is on pages 4 and 5. UN, terrorism intensifying across Africa, exploiting instability, conflict. And you'd find other stories right at the top on page 3. Again, aviation workers fault concession, planned demolition of FAN, NEMA offices. And on page 24, you see the story about Uzodinma urging editors to be objective in reporting. You'd find other stories as well, like this one about Kogi targets 591 billion yearly IGR, deepens ties with China. And the MPC is warning Nigerians against migrating for census. That story is on page 9 on The Guardian.
All right, with that, we'll move on to more stories or more papers. Next is The Nation newspaper. How Tinubu will actualize plans on economy security. That's the lead story on The Nation newspaper. And we have a writer that says, technocrats explain how APC candidates will deliver on promises. And you can actually find highlights of some of these if you read the paper. We also have US, UK terror alerts. Those arrested will be prosecuted, says IG. Atiku, optimistic of truce with the G5 governors. We also have just below the nameplates there, Kogi government targets 591 billion naira annual IGR. Security step up on Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. On the footnote there, we have $350 or $1 million needed for Nigeria Air's takeoff, says minister. At the top of the page, we have Oni Adeyeye Ogunwusi and his woman, and Tinubu, I will complete Ajaokuta rolling mill. Arsonists burn 65,000 PVCs in Ogun INEC office. And these are some of the stories on The Nation newspaper.
On the Punch newspaper this morning, Forex crisis. Traders lose as Naira rebounds to 720 to a dollar. And the writers there say currency jumps from 910 to 720 in 6 days. How EFCC clamped down market sentiment, reverse Naira slide, and BDC operators resist Naira rebound, hold back greenback purchase. And you see a very disturbing pictorial there that shows you 11 die as Kogi protesters barricade road with tanker. You'd also see other interesting stories on the Punch newspaper this morning. Arson. INEC meets security chiefs today. Farmers kick as CBN halts Anko Barrow's program. And then oil theft suspects reject extradition, sue federal government. You'd find other stories as well. Lagos Port Harcourt likely to witness weather catastrophe. Woman plunges into lagoon after argument with fiancé. That's a very interesting story and sad at the same time. Now, Lagosian bombs wife to death. Those are quite very sad stories coming from Lagos. But we're going to take a look at that story a bit later when we're reviewing our papers this morning. These are the major stories on the Punch.
All right, next is Nigerian Tribune. We have the lead story that talks about, the burning of 65,699 PVCs in Ogun State, INEC office. We also have more stories here. 20 feared killed as petrol-laden truck explodes in Kogi. 2023, editors demand issue-based campaign. Media to hold roundtable on industry regulation. We have Kogi targets 591 billion annual IGR. We also have Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, police in Oyo, Ogun re-strategize, mobilize against kidnappers, bandits, use OPC to flush out criminals from bushes along highways. Gani Adams charges Oyo, Ogun, Lagos governors. We also have on economy, top times ahead, vote-capable candidates, says Shatima. At the top of the page, we have Naira strengthens, surprises, speculators, and Atiku's campaign faults Tinubu's camp on a $460,000 forfeiture to U.S. As Keyamo defends Tinubu, Wiki Atiku to meet soon, says Dele Momodu, and police arrest 12 over alleged attack on supporters of Atiku in Rivers State. And these are some of the stories on Nigerian Tribune.
And on the Leadership newspaper this Friday, loan sharks persist with cruel recovery practices. That story is on page 4, and you see a breakdown of excesses of online loan sharks in Nigeria. That's a very interesting data breakdown there. And if you'd like to get more details, grab a copy of Leadership Friday. You'd see other stories as well. CSP AMA promoted for rejecting robbers $200,000 bribe. TET Fund renews clamor for 3% education tax rate. And then media holds roundtable on industry regulation. And on the political desk, 2023 PMB has anointed Tinubu. It shall come to pass, Adamu boasts. 2023 Nigerian youth will speak through their votes. This is according to the YPP. And then the story that's almost on every paper this morning. 65,000 voters may be disenfranchised as fire guts Ogun, Osun, INEC offices. These are the major stories on the Leadership.
And finally, on Business Day, we have the lead story that says oil royalty boosts eases states cash flow. We also have livestock farmers recount food losses. Oil thieves drill into Dubry's pipeline in new dimension to crude theft. And at the top of the page there we have employers adopt Ideal's work model to stem Japa wave. And these are some of the stories on a Business Day this morning. All right, with that, we'll take a look at an analysis of the papers. And right here in the studio, we already have our guest, and he's Nuruddin Abdullah, editor, 21st Century Chronicles, joining us for an in-depth analysis of some of the stories. Good morning and thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
All right, so let's begin with Daily Trust newspaper. Now, the lead story talks about INEC holding emergency meeting today, and we've seen on other papers, that some INEC offices in Ogun and other states, were actually burnt down and over 65,000 PVCs destroyed. What's your take on this?
I think there is serious concern, particularly with the resurgence of arson on the Commission's offices. Late last year, particularly in the southeast, tens of INEC offices were burned down by unknown gunmen. Some say IPOP, and likewise some federal facilities. They include the military formations, police offices, and other paramilitary organizations. I saw a paper saying about 65,000 may not be able to exercise their civic responsibility. I think INEC, what you need to do, they need to reprint the data of those Nigerians there. Mm-hmm. So what you just need to do is reprint of those cards.
But is there enough time before the election
for
them to do that?
65, yeah, they can do it. I don't think they should be disenfranchised because of the arson. They can do it. They have 5 months or more. Or let's say in November, December, January, February, 3 months plus, they can do it. That is one. And going forward, I think INEC need to review its security architecture, particularly around its facilities across the country, particularly too where they keep sensitive materials. PVC now is equally a sensitive material, bearing in mind the desperation of some of the politicians. They are, because of the beavers and all the technologies deployed by INEC to avert vote buying, what are they doing now? They are busy inducing some gullible Nigerians and collecting the PVCs. So I think maybe what INEC should do is to put more security around their facilities, particularly those facilities that are where sensitive materials like the PVCs are being warehoused. Because without PVC, you won't vote. The era of incidence form is gone. That's what the INEC is telling us. So I think maybe they will quickly print with they have their security contractors. The mint is here in Abuja, Lagos. Maybe they can quickly gather those materials from them. And again, Nigerians need to be more serious with the election. Why are those 65,000 PVCs doing there in Ogun? They should be in the hands of the public. So you look at almost all the states, the INEC officials are crying, come for your PVCs. So I hope that this does not, predict the type of election apathy that we may witness in 2023. There are millions of PVCs lying fallow at various INEC offices across the country. You understand? So that is it. So I think maybe more Nigerians need to be more serious. They should have faith on the system, because if you look at the figures, it seems that this election will record the highest apathy compared to those in the past. You understand?
Absolutely. Well, a lot of people have also described this as kind of a deliberate attempt, to mar the 2023 election. That is why we're seeing, INEC offices being touched down in recent times. Do you think this is going to be a problem as we look forward to the 2023 elections?
I don't think so. It's mere coincidence. You can't stop election by just attacking some selected facilities belonging to the commission. INEC has zonal offices. They have at least state offices in 6 states plus Abuja. They equally have offices in all the 774 local governments. So let's say even if you take 20% of it, it won't stop anything. You understand? But again, INEC should look forward. Politicians can be desperate, particularly now that INEC is tightening all the gaps the politicians take advantage of during election. Now it has to be beavers, you know, there won't be incidents form, there won't be underage voting, you know, all these things. So as INEC is planning, the politicians are equally re-strategizing. How are we going to beat this system? So they should be very conscious of that as they plan towards this election. And Nigerians on their own part too, there is no need for you to just 3 months to the election to leave your PVC with the INEC. You should get it. It's your right. You can make or mar your future with it.
Okay, so share your thoughts on, you know, because on one of the writers, it says IDP Probe's attack on Atiku's convoy. Can you share your thoughts on that?
Okay, so there was indeed an attack on the opposition candidate in Borno. You know, when the attack took place, I think we were the first to report it, if I remember correctly. There was a denial, as usual. The spokesperson of the Nigerian police in Borno State, you know, he hurriedly arranged a press conference. You know, he was incoherently reading from a hurriedly prepared speech, you can see, saying that there was no attack. Whereas in the social media age, the Atiku people, you know, they flooded the internet with video footages of the vehicles vandalized. And medical workers in Borno have confirmed that they received a number of people who were attacked, who were wounded during the. It's a good thing, but I think, again, the security agencies need to assure Nigerians. We have 18 presidential candidates. They should be allowed to campaign in all parts of the country, you understand? Allow the voters to decide. You understand? Because what happens there is portends a very bad omen for the political ecosystem as we move towards February 28th. Why is it so? If you attack an opposition candidate in a place you believe that your candidate has an upper hand, your candidate will equally go to other parts of the country where the opposition candidate has an upper hand. What if there is retaliation? So it means, you know, we are trying to create an anarchy. So the police should use those arrested as an example. They say that they have arrested some people in Rivers for attacking some, I think, a faction of the PDP in Rivers. The police should be walk and seem to be walking impartially.
I think one person was actually, you know, arrested, a 32-year-old, with a stone as evidence.
In that of Borno, you see the vehicles. They were vandalized, and you know they were captured on videos. And you don't need a clairvoyant to tell you who those hoodlums were working for. So I think maybe the IGP should match his word with action by ensuring that those, first and foremost, by providing adequate securities when these politicians go on campaign. And secondly, if there is any breach, his men should be impartial and arrest the perpetrators. It happened in Kaduna, I remember. It happened in Rivers, and now it is happening in Borno. So who knows where it happened next? We have 36 states in Abuja, and we have 3 months to campaign. 90 days, 90 solid days to campaign. So when you start this anarchy and what have you, it is not good for the politicians. It is not good for the gullible Nigerians who are being used. None of the politicians goes to those campaigns with their children, grandchildren, or even their wives. Both of them are abroad. They are watching it on TV.
All right, let's take a look. Let's take a look at a few pages, on Daily Trust. The opinion page talks about, that's on page 15, it talks about how not to talk with Africa about climate change. There's been a lot of backlash on that.
That's by the president, right?
It's actually just an opinion piece. All right, so on letters to the editor, it talks about insecurity, and it says, let's borrow from Iraq's experience. And then let's go to city and crime on page 20 and 21. And we actually saw the story of a woman who jumped into Lagos Lagoon after she had a fight with her fiance. We also have a story on a dad arrested after reporting his daughter missing. We have a herbalist, hotelier, others arrested over a missing Ogun State woman, and so many, witchcraft suspects killed in Kebbi State as well, and so many, stories on city and crime. But, let's talk about the woman who jumped into a lagoon and, committed suicide after she had a fight with her fiance.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe she's depressed or whatever. But is it worth it to die because of a fiancé? I think maybe individuals, at individual level, we should take mental health very seriously. Many people are depressed without even knowing. Because is it worth it? You move on. 6 months, you forget about the man. Because he'll continue with his life now. You understand? Maybe he's cheating, all this. Don't carry all these things. I think women should be more serious about this relationship thing. I don't know. I'm not a relationship expert, but I don't think, I may be wrong, but I don't think that it is worth it. To die because of one fiancé or, no. It has to do with the mental health. People should take it very seriously. She should be advised, leave that man. 3 months, you may be heartbroken or whatever, but time heals.
Absolutely. True.
So unfortunately, it's a very sad. So maybe, women, you need to start that advocacy very well.
And it seems like the lagoon in Lagos seemed to be a very great spot to just jump into. And I think at some point there were rules about allowing people actually come close to the lagoon, because before you know it, people just jump in and then.
I think as of was it last year when I saw the figures about suicide rates, Lagos was leading, and the Bermuda Triangle is that lagoon, that Third Mainland Bridge angle, and I think Lagos State, they have a task force there. The last time somebody jumped, the task force, I don't know whether he died or. There was a man, he just left his car and jumped. So the task force immediately dived with him, and there was a speedboat around, cruising around. Because, apart from mental health, the economy. Particularly in that one, the economy. And, but I didn't read the details I don't have the details of the story, because it may be, in one case, maybe it may have to do with the economy. If the fiancé, maybe there is a date, maybe the man is shifting the dates, or she needed an iPhone 13 or iPhone 14.
Okay.
She needed, all these things, and the man could not provide, and she just concluded that he is not serious, after wasting her time. All these things, they are tied to the economy.
All right, talking about the economy now, the dollar has actually crashed, at the parallel market to 730. What do you think about this?
So it's a cause for celebration, right? It's just now 740. Okay, we hope that it will come down. Yeah, but all the economic variables are not indicating such. But we hope that this will continue. But Mike, we're heading towards an election, a very competitive election. Competitive, unprecedentedly competitive. Because, we have 18 candidates, but 2 candidates stand out, and they are deploying all their known and unknown arsenals spiritual, monetary, and because in Hausa we call it padan the end, because their last fight, the Tinubu Atiku thing, whoever wins, whoever doesn't win, I don't think in the next 4 years will be irrelevant again because of age, because of the political situation and whatever. So they are not leaving any stone unturned to ensure that they grab. So there will be serious monetization of the polity. They don't deal with naira; they deal with dollar. Like I said all that time, one bundle is almost okay with this now. A bundle of $100 is now 7.4 million. Just a bundle.
It's still huge.
We hope they will do concrete. They will put concrete measures to avert the slide of the currency. You understand? We hope they will do that. It's a very good development because at the time it was almost 895 or even 900.
900. But do you think the clampdown by the EFCC was an initiator, to this new development?
Yes, but what I'm saying here is the climb down. They cannot be climbing on this one every day. We need concrete economic measures to arrest this downward slide. You understand? Arresting the BDCs and whatever is not enough. There is no dollar now. Just I think a few days ago I was discussing with a friend who works with a foreign organization. He said that they can even access dollar from their own official account of the company's account. He said there was a time 2 of his colleagues were traveling out. So it took them 8 days to access money from their account in a commercial bank. So they have to bring all manner of things. Said something after the visa, the accommodation, the tickets, and whatever. They have to even bring their letter of appointment. So it took them 8 days. So that is it. So, you shouldn't use a goon who major to arrest, because this is about the economy. It's about look at other, just look at things we don't produce, right? So everything that comes in, just last week I was discussing with a friend. He sells perfumes and whatever, and this incense. Told him, I asked of one. He said no, he couldn't bring it again, because he said if he brings it now, nobody will buy it because of the exchange regime. So it's a reality. Arresting BDCs will not give you a lasting solution. So we should look at more at realistic, long-lasting economic solutions. The monetary policy managers, they should sit up and do this thing. They should go beyond arrest. They should go beyond arrest.
Well, I'd like you to comment on this quickly before we wrap up the newspaper review. We're seeing that the federal government is halting the Uncle Borrows program, and a lot of farmers have lost to the floods. Like, for instance, we did a documentary in Taraba where we spoke to some farmers, and a lot of them actually collected loans to, put into their farms, and the flood came and washed away everything. And now they were hoping that there's going to be some form of relief, and they're just helpless at the moment.
So I saw it. I think it was the front page of one of the newspapers you mentioned. According to MFLA, I think as of March or April, he said that they have released about 2 or 3 trillion on Uncle Borrows. Uncle Borrows, has 15 commodities. Rice as one of the major ones. So I don't think that the CBN will just disburse 1.something trillion without insurance. The money needs to be insured, so that the farmers, in the time of disaster like this, maybe fire outbreaks, maybe flooding, or it may be even locust attack, so that they shouldn't just lose their investment. I think the money should be insured. they disburse this money through refund, for instance. When you're talking about the rice commodity, you know, there is refund. So I don't think they are just sharing the money anyhow. And maybe it's one of the realistic economic policies. According to MFLA, he said that uncle borrowers, all these NISAL, you know, they share all manner of money during the COVID. Say we are responsible for the skyrocketing inflation that we have. People have so much money, and you know how the thing was done. They're like the NISAR, something, they will say that, okay, you have to bring a business idea, whatever. They do it in business centers. They will register the company there. They will give you the proposal. They will just tell them, okay, is it a Jazena? Okay, this one is a Hussein Dachen, whatever. And they submit. You part with some percentages. And before you know it, the money will just land into your account. And you know, as ladies normally do, they'll just go to the boutique, you know, and do the shopping that they have been wanting to do. So you understand? So it wasn't, the money was not being channeled into production. Some were getting second wives. Some were doing lepe in Hausa, you know, that man is a bachelor, he has been waiting to have some money to. So that was it. So much trillions, people say, without any productivity. MFLA, according to me, he said that was responsible for the crash of the value of the Naira and the skyrocketing inflation. So maybe it's one of the measures the central bank is taking, you know, to erase the inflation rate, as well as even the value of the Naira. But at the same time, you know, they should have a safety valve for farmers who they gave money, and you know the flood this year was devastating. If not, there will be a lot of court cases.
All right. Would have actually loved for you to talk about the media, you know, roundtable holding on industry regulations, because on Nigerian Tribune it says editors demand issue-based campaign. Would have loved you to shed more light, but can you do that in a few seconds?
Yeah, media play a very critical role, particularly in times like this. You know, we are going into election, so we set the agenda. We should give space to civic engagement. We should de-emphasize violence, fake news, and things that we believe. You know, it is not everything that we publish. Things that we believe will not help our democratic process. So that is it. I think when we do that, you know, we control the space. When they come, you know, they will bring all manner of things. Mr. Hussein, no, I Hussein, it's an X this, X that, okay. Back it up. Even Tango, even advert, you have to file the indemnity form. You understand? If not, they will use it. Yeah, they have money to cause all manner of disaffection, anarchy, you know, and whatever. But when we insist that all the news that will go into the newspapers, the airwaves and whatever, are directly or indirectly will contribute to the democratic process, we should go for it. Then we de-emphasize otherwise. So with that, you know, will contribute, the media play a critical role, particularly in democracy. So.
All right, thank you so much for joining us for an analysis of the stories on the papers today.